The biggest question after the deadly LaGuardia runway collision is not just how two pilots were lost, it is how a crash severe enough to destroy the cockpit still left the vast majority of people on board alive. On Sunday night, March 22, 2026, Jazz Aviation's CRJ-900 operating as Air Canada Express Flight AC8646 from Montréal collided with an aircraft rescue and firefighting vehicle on Runway 4 at LaGuardia Airport, and the NTSB says its investigation is preliminary and subject to change. If you follow verified aviation and major breaking news timelines like this, subscribe, like, and share to support Starline Daily for more documentary-style updates built around confirmed facts, official statements, and the latest public record. What is confirmed so far is the basic sequence. The flight had originated in Montréal and was carrying about 72 passengers and 4 crew members, according to Air Canada. The FAA said the collision happened at about 11:45 p.m. local time after the aircraft landed. Both pilots were killed, and more than 40 people were injured. Reuters reported, citing Port Authority officials, that 41 people were hurt and 9 remained hospitalized with serious injuries later Monday. That is why the linked report focused so heavily on one word: miraculous. Aviation safety expert Anthony Brickhouse said the damage alone shows how violent the impact was, and he told people that, based on what is publicly known so far, the pilots likely did the best they could in the seconds they had. He also said passengers seated toward the front were in immediate danger at the moment of impact, which is one reason investigators are expected to look closely at survivability. In other words, the public conversation has shifted from simply how the crash happened to why the death toll was not even worse. The next verified question is how a passenger jet and an emergency vehicle ended up on the same runway. Reuters and the Associated Press both reported that the fire truck was responding to a separate United Airlines aircraft that had reported an odor issue. Early air traffic control audio reviewed by those outlets indicates the truck had been cleared to cross runway 4, followed by urgent commands telling it to stop moments before impact. That audio is important, but it still does not amount to an official cause finding. The NTSB has not yet issued a probable cause, and the agency's own page stresses that the information now available is only preliminary. That distinction matters because accident investigations are rarely settled by one dramatic recording or one early theory. Brickhouse told people that communication will be central, and Reuters likewise reported that experts expect investigators to examine the actions of the controller, the truck crew, and the broader system around them. That means viewers should be careful with any online claim that says the cause is already known. As of the latest available information, the investigation is ongoing. There is also a wider safety context here. The FAA has spent the last 2 years publicly emphasizing runway incursion risk, especially vehicle and pedestrian deviations on the airfield. In June 2024, the agency said it was intensifying efforts to reduce those events during busy travel periods, and in March 2025, it announced expanded deployment of its runway incursion device to 74 towers as part of a broader runway safety portfolio. That does not mean those systems would have prevented this specific collision at LaGuardia, and no official source has made that claim. But it does explain why this crash is already being discussed as more than a single airport tragedy. It fits into a larger debate about airport surface safety, communications, and how quickly technology is being rolled out. The human toll remains at the center of the story. The pilots did not survive. Dozens of passengers and crew were injured. The aircraft's nose and cockpit area were devastated. Yet the plane did not become an even larger mass casualty disaster. And that is the point experts keep returning to when they describe the outcome as extraordinary given the visible destruction. People also reported that LaGuardia confirmed around 1:30 p.m. Monday that operations would resume at 2 p.m. though with residual delays, underscoring how quickly the airport had to shift from emergency response to recovery while investigators remained on scene. So the clearest verified ending to this story, for now, is this. Air Canada Express Flight AC8646 struck a rescue vehicle on Runway 4 at LaGuardia late on March 22nd, killing both pilots and injuring dozens, while leaving investigators with urgent unanswered questions about runway access, communications, and survivability. The official record is still developing. The still open question is not whether the crash was catastrophic. It clearly was. The unanswered question is what sequence of decisions and safeguards failed before impact, and what investigators will say must change after it. Thank you for watching, and thank you for supporting Starline Daily.